Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Mahaprabhu ki Tananita Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Sena Romanchakam Pasru Taranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Romanchakam Pasru Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Shri Vigrahara Dhananitanana Shringaratanama Niramajanado Dhananityanana Shringaratanma Juktasya Bhaktamsya Niyunjatapi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Satana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangha Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Satana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangha Kridvaiva Tripte Bhajata Shadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shiradikama Gavayara Para Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Namna Shiradikama Madhura Lila Pratikshana Sa Dhanalopasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Ne kunja yono ratikeli siddhai jayali bhir jukti apekshaneya Ne kunja yono ratikeli siddhai jayali bhir jukti Tatra tidaksha ativalavasya Vande Guru Shri charanara vrindam. Sachadharidvena Shamasta Shashre Ruktastatha Bhavyataiva Sadhvi Kintu Prabhoja Priyaeva Tasya Vande Gura Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Gura Shri Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutapi Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutapi Dhyayam Stubham Tasya Yasatri Sandhyam Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam. Vande Gurashi Dhyayam Stuvam Tasya Yasatri Sandhyam Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam. Vande Gurashi Charanara Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunavadi Pachatari Satarine. Namaste Deve Gauravane Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunavadi. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Bora Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Gadadhara Shivasari Bora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Bo Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Yaraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namah Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopal Govindaram Shrimadhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna Hare Yaraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namah Gopal Govindaram Shrimadhusudan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Shri Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadrama Jaya Sudarshan Chakra Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribo Nitai Gaur Haribo Haribo Nitai Gaura Premanande Haribo Jai Vishwapar Paramahansa Prabhajaka Acharya Suttara Srashishimat His Divine Grace Abhacharan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Pratishta Vividi Samstapaka Acharya Vaishnava Sramani Gaura Priya Jana Krishna Prima Bhakti Datta Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gaurya Guru Varga Patita Udhar ki jai. श्री रूप सनातन भक्त रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भक्त दास गुण सदगोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नामाचार्य शील हरिदास ठाकुर जी की जय। जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसरि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। जय परम दयाल श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। जय प्रेम नाम संकीर्तन एक जनक प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री सच्चिनंदन स्मरण गौर चैतन्य महाप्रभु गौर हरि मावरण अवतार की जय। गोलोकेर प्रमधान हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। जुग धर्म हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। बृहद निदांग ट्रांसनेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सेवा की जय। शिशु राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपना राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। श्री ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। दिलो शिव शिशु राधा नील माधव की भगवान की जय। शिशु माया पूर्णद्वीप एक चक्र धाम की जय। परम करुण शिशु गौर निताय भगवान की जय। श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी बलदेव प्रभु स्मस्पद्री विश्वदर्शन चक्र भगवान की जय। भक्ति सर्व विघ्न विनाशन करनी सिंहरे भगवान की जय। जय गंगा माय जमुना माय की जय। तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौरी प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled bodies. All glories to the assembled bodies. All glories to the assembled bodies. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
नमस्ते नरसे भाया। नमस्ते नरसे भाया। प्रहलाद लाद दायिने। हिरण्यकाशिपु पक्षः। शीलटङ्कानकालाये। इतो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह। यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह। बहिर्नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह। नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये। तव करकमलवरे नागा मद्भुत श्रृंगा दलिता हिरण्यकाशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा। जय जगदीश हरे। जय जगदीश हरे। जय जगदीश हरे। केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल
जय श्री श्री भक्ति पद सर्व विघ्नाशन कलशंकरी भगवान की जय भक्त शिष्ट प्रहलाद महाराज की जय निताई गौरारी प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। श्री वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी शतवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रादे देवी शतवताय श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय।
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो
bhava hey avilasi.
Radha Krishna seva pabo ei abhilashi.
Radha Krishna seva pavo hey avilasi.
Je tomara sharanalo tara vancha purana ho.
Je tomara sharanala tara vancha purna.
Kripa kori koro tare Vrindavan vasi.
Tumne kripa kare kara tare Vrindavan vasi.
Moraye abhilash Vilas kunje diyo vas.
Morae vilas vilas kunje diyova.
Nayane haribo sada jugal ruparasi.
Aminayane rivo sada jugala ruparasi.
Ei nivedana dharo sakhiranu gata goro.
Eni vedana dhara sakiranya gata kara.
Seva adhikara diye koro nijadasi.
Sevaya dekhara diye karne jadase.
Dina Krishna dase koe ye na mora hoye.
Dina Krishna das koi ei namora.
Shri Radha Govinda preme sada ye na bhasi.
Shri Radha Govinda preme sada navasi.
Shri Radha Govinda preme sada ye na bhasi.
Shri Radha Govinda preme sada navasi.
Yani kani cha papani brahma hatyadikani cha tani tani pranashanti pradakshina pade pade.
Yani kani sa papani Brahma hatyade kanisa tani tani prana shanti pradakshina pade pade.
Yani kani cha papani brahma hatyadikani cha tani tani pranashanti pradikshina pade pade.
Yani kani sa papani Brahma hatyade kanisa tani tani prana shanti pradakshina pade pade.
Yani kani cha papani brahma hatyadikani cha tani tani pranashanti pradikshina pade pade.
Yani kani sa papani Brahma hatyade kanisa tani tani prana shanti pradakshina pade pade.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Nityai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nityai Gaura Hari Bol
Nityai Gaura Hari Bol
Hari Bol Hari Bol Nityai Gaura Hari Bol Srimati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai
Shri Vrindai Tulasi Devi Priyai Ke Sava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prari Devi Shatavatai Namo Namaha Vrindai Tulasi Devi Priyai Ke Sava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattavataye Namo Namaha Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattavataye Namo Namaha Jai Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Oh Tulsi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. I desire to bring the service of Shiva. Lord, take shelter from those wishes fulfilled. Bestow myself on you to make me residence of Vrindavan. I desire that you also grant me a residence in pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Thus within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful lessons of Radha and Krishna. I dare you to make me a follower of the ends of your word. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own man servant. This very fallen and lowly servant Krishna praise, may I always sing aloud Shri Radha and Govinda, Srimati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sikhyastakam ki Jai. Chaito Darpanam Anjanam Bhava Mahada Bhagni Nivapanam Shri Akari Chandika Vitaranam Vidya Vadu Jivanam Ananda Mudivardhanam Padiparam Purnamrita Sharanam Sarvatmasnam Paramparam Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Vaudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Shmarane Nakala Etadrishitava kripaya bhagavan mamapi durdhaivam idrisham yajami nanuraga Narapi sunichena daroraki sarishna amanina manadena kitaniya sada hari anam najanam sandari kavitam vajadishakavai mama janmani janmanishwari bhavata bhaktiraitu kitvahi Varinandatam jakinkaram patitamam vishame bhavabudau Krupaya tava pada pankaja Sitaduli sarvisham ichintaya Nayanam galarashudharaya Vadanam galikadaya gira Bhakari chitama bhukada Tavanama grahane bhavishati Jugaitam nimishena Chakrusha pravusaitam Sunyaitam jagat sarvam Govinda virahena me Aslishva padaratam vinashtama Adarshana magmatam karotuva Chatatava vidadhatulam vivato Matpranatastu saivana paro Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Kristakam Ki Jai Namo Mahavarannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Guru Tushi Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fiery condition of life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than straw on the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your cause of devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yes, some or other have fallen in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at the Lord's feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up and will the hairs of my body stand on the end of the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering one moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling old, vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he should remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Kristakam Ki Jai. There are 10 offenses in matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord that should be avoided. They are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literatures or literatures and pursuits of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are often in Vedas, a spiritual activity, karma kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10. do not have complete faith in chanting the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against these influences in order to quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees, they can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhyaivacha paritanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Jai Ananta Koch Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Shri Guru Vandana Mangala Charan ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakchurumiritam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Radhi Swaparantikam Mandinam Shri Guru Shri Jyotabharakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Savrijatam Savana Raghunatam Yutam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Saharana Radita Shri Satanam Cha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sundavadi Vasyakari Salarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Namine Shri Vaishnavani Devi
Dayitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhur Ujjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinakarine Rupanuga Viruddha Vas Absudanta Tampaharine Mokti Sudhamara Atatana Murtaye Vambara Sambodhe Padam Vajayate Namaha Nodaya Namine Gora Shakti Swarupaya Bhupanuga Varayate Gora Virvama Bhumestvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhoma Sri Jaganatayate Namaha Kalpataravyascha Kripasindhyavicha Patanam Pavanebhyo Vasnebhyo Namo Namaha Krishna Prema Padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Buddha Namaha Kalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Kantor Bhangur Mama Manda Mater Kati Matsarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohanok Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadaha Shimad Ratnat Rasnato Madhva Govinda Devo Vestali Vihi Sevyamanam Smarani Shiman Rasarva Shamandivam Sivata Tatastita Karsan Venus Manir Gopir Gopinatak Striyestina Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Tanya Prabhu Nichananda Radha Shivasli Gaur Bhaktavindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chantamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vritesha Surabhira Vipalyantam Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambhrama Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Venam Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Sobam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasadvanamalya Vamsi Ratnam Gadam Pranay Keli Kalavilasam Shamam Jibanga Lalita Nita Prakasam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pasyanti Panti Kalyanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purisham Navayovanam Cha Vedesa Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastakoti Satafat Ramyo Mayura Tapi Manasomari Pungamanam So Pyasti Yat Prapadasim Yavichinti Tatve Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sora Chayatum Jagananda Koti Yaschakti Rasti Jagananda Chayayadanta Dantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yat Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manajasta Samprapya Rupa Mahimasana Musa Suktar Yameva Nigama Pratitaistavanti Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasapati Bhavita Vista Birya Evani Jarupa Tayakalabi Goloka Evani Vasata Kilatma Bhutto Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Luchana Santaksadeva Yadesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Sukalani Your name Nitistam Nana Avataram Akarud Bhuvanesa Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pamamyo Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhuvato Jagananda Koti Koti Svasesa Vasadadi Vibhuti Binam Tad Brahma Niskalam Anantam Asesa Bhutam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Mayahi Yasya Jagananda Satani Srute Trigun Tad Vishaya Veda Vitaya Manam Sattva Valambud Parasatvam Visuddha Sattvam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Matayamanasu Yaprani Nam Prativalam Smaratam Upetya Leela Yatena Bhuvanani Jaya Yajasram Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Goloka Namni Nitidamni Tale Chitasya Devi Maheso Adidama Sutesa Tesu Tete Prabhavani Chaya Vichasta Yena Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Shistista Te Pralaya Sadhava Sakti Reka Chaya Vyasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga Ichana Rupam Apyasya Chichesta Tesa Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Shiram Yata Dadi Vikara Visesa Yoga Sanjaya Te Naitatapi Takasti Hetu Yasam Bhutam Apitata Samapaiti Kawarya Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Departure Evi Hita Santanam Abhyapetya Dipayate Vivitetu Samanu Dharma Yastadrik Evi Chavishtatayo Bhati Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Akarna Narna Vachale Bhajatisma Yoga Nidram Ananta Jagaranda Saroma Kopa Adhara Saktam Avalambya Param Smarurtim Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yasyaika Nisvasita Kalamatavalamya Jivanti Loma Vilija Jagaranda Nata Vishnur Mahansa Yasya Kalabi say so Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Pasmanya Tasma Sakalesu Nijesu Teja Sri Yankiyat Prakatayat Apitat Vitatra Brahmaya Esa Jagananda Anakarta Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yat Pada Valava Yugam Vinidaya Kumbha Dvande Pranama Samayesa Ganadi Raja Vignan Vihantam Alamasya Jagatrayasya Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Agni Mahika Ganamambu Maruti Sascha Kalasta Tatma Manasiti Jagatrayani Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Visanti Yamcha Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yaschak Suresa Savita Sakalagrahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Rasesa Teja Yasya Gaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakro Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Dharmo Tapapa Nichaya Sutayastapam Si Brahma Dikita Patakava Teasta Jiva Yadata Matra Vibhava Prakata Prabhava Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yastrinda Gopa Matavendra Mahosvakarma Bandana Rupa Falabhajana Matanoti Karmani Nirtahati Kintu Chibakti Bhajam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Kroda Kamasa Japranayadi Biti Vatsaya Moha Guru Gaurava Sevya Bhavai Sanchintya Tasya Sadrisintanam Aparete Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Sri Akanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatarabo Drumabu Mishchitamani Ganama Ito Amritam Kataganam Natyam Gamanam Apivam Sipriyasa Kistiranandam Jyoti Param Apitadaspatim Apichaitsa Yatrasiradi Bhisravadi Surabi Vyas Chusumahan Nimesa Dakyuva Vajatina Yatrapis Samaya Bajay Swita Dvipam Tamaham Iya Golokamitiam Vidantaste Santakshiti Purachari Katipaye Guru Vastika prayers ki jai. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master is an ocean of auspicious quality. Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing, and playing musical instruments, the spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he is relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind, sometimes his hair stands on end, he feels quivering in his body, and tears flow from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. Spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food, analyzes that which is sleek, chewed, drunk, and such. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasada, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting gopis who at different times make different tastes of arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal love and affairs within the groves of Vrindavana. I offer my most humble obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servant to the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hare Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master at least 3 times a day. So, offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Text 24. Maye Suran Bhagavatam Strayadise Samramba Marga Binivisita Chitan Ye Samyuge Chaksata Chakshastu Putram Amse Shunabai Yudam Apatantam Manye. I think Asuran, the demons, Bhagavatam, great devotees, Tri Adise, unto the Lord of the Threes, Samramba, enmity, Marga, by the way of, Abhinivista, Chitan, absorbed in thought, yea, those, Samyuge, in the fight, Achaksata, could see, Tarksya Putram, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, Amse, on the shoulder, Sanaba, the wheel, Ayudam, one who carries the weapon, Apatantam, coming forward. Translation. I consider demons who are inimical toward the Lord to be more than the devotees, because while fighting with the Lord, absorbed in thoughts of enmity, they were able to see the Lord carried on the shoulder of Garuda, the son of Takshya, Kasyapa, and carrying the wheel weapon in his hand. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Asuras, who fought against the Lord face to face, got salvation due to their being killed by the Lord. This salvation of the demons is not due to their being devotees of the Lord. It is because of the Lord's causeless mercy. Anyone who is slightly in touch with the Lord somehow or other is greatly benefited, even to the point of salvation, due to the excellence of the Lord. He is so kind that he awards salvation even to his enemies because they come into contact with him and are indirectly absorbed in him by their inimical thoughts. Actually, the demons can never be equal to the pure devotees, but Uddhava was thinking in that way because of his feelings of separation. He was thinking that at the last stage of his life, he might not be able to see the Lord face to face as did the demons. The fact is that the devotees who are always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord in transcendental love are rewarded many hundreds and thousands of times more than the demons by being elevated to the spiritual planets, where they remain with the Lord in eternal blissful existence. The demons and impersonalists are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahmajyoti effulgence of the Lord. whereas the devotees are admitted into spiritual planets for comparison. One can just imagine the difference between floating in space and residing in one of the planets in the sky. The pleasure of the living entities on the planets is greater than that of those who have no body and who merge with the molecules of the sun's rays. The impersonalists, therefore, are no more favored than the enemies of the Lord. Rather, they are both on the same level of spiritual salvation. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I consider the demons who are inimical toward the Lord to be more than the devotees, because while fighting with the Lord, absorbed in thoughts of enmity, they are able to see the Lord carried on the shoulder of Garuda, the son of Tarksya Kashyapa, and carrying the wheel weapon in his hand. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, there's a very important point made here. It's also explained in the 8 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, where it says that, first of all, Uddhava is thinking, oh, these outright demons are more advanced than me, because they have attained the mercy of the Lord by being killed. But I'm still alive, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to see the Lord like these demons at the moment of death. So I consider them more advanced than me. Okay, but that's because Uddhava has so much love for the Lord. It's normal that the devotee thinks that he is very unfortunate and that other people are more fortunate than him. So this is also explained in the 8th chapter, 27th verse of Bhagavad Gita. Although the devotees know these two paths, there's two paths of leaving the body, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Okay, so in the 8th chapter, near the end, Krishna explains 2 ways that you can leave the body. One is during the auspicious time of the year, and leaving the body an inauspicious time of the year. And even in auspicious or inauspicious time, there are maximum auspicious time and minimum auspicious time. Okay. So, in the purport, however, Prabhupada explains more, in depth. He says, Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by the different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. A devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. The devotee should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna. He should know that concern over either of these two paths is troublesome. The best way to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness is to be always dovetailed in his service, and this will make one's path to the spiritual kingdom safe, certain, and direct. The word yoga yukta is especially significant in this verse. One who is firm in yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness in all his activities. Sri Rupa Goswami advises, Anusaktasya Vishayan Yatarham Upayanjitaha. One should be unattached in material affairs and do everything in Krishna consciousness. By this system, which is called Yukta Vairagya, one attains perfection. Therefore, the devotee is not disturbed by these descriptions because he knows that his passage to the Supreme Abode is guaranteed by devotional service. So Prabhupada basically says the same thing in his purport when he's speaking about how Uddhava is feeling less fortunate than the demons. And Prabhupada says, The demons and the impersonalists are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahmajyoti effulgence of the Lord, whereas the devotees are admitted into the spiritual planets. Okay, one second. It says, actually, the demons can never be equal to the pure devotees, but Uddhava was thinking in that way because of his feelings of separation. So, his feelings of separation, he loves Krishna, and he has great affection and love for Krishna. So, even a second's time where he's not connected to Krishna is devastating for him, right? So he says, but Uddhava was thinking in that way because of his feelings of separation. So devotee, Lord Chaitanya, when he came and incarnated, he demonstrated vipralambha bhava, love in separation from the Lord, which is stronger even than love in proximity of the Lord. So, and he demonstrated that, and you would have to read the Antya Leela of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's long descriptions of the behavior of the Lord, who is feeling this great separation. We don't feel any separation of the Lord because we're in Maya. You say, if you see somebody jogging and you stop them and say, sir, how do you feel today? Say, oh, I feel great. So he's not missing the Lord at all. But if you ask Uddhava, how do you feel today? Say, I feel terrible. All I see is Maya all around me. And I'm just feeling that separation from the Lord. Just like when you love someone and they're not there anymore. Let's say they die. Or they're on the other side of the world, just like you have parents. You're on this side of the world, they're on the other side of the world, right? So the parents feel the separation. You may feel it also, but the parents feel it more. And so when we feel separation from Krishna, that means we have some affection for the Lord and love. But no one's feeling like that. Everybody says, oh, how are you doing today? Say, oh, I'm great. Right? Let's say, for example, a mother goes to Walmart and puts her kid in the shop, in the push cart. They have seats now in push carts for little kids. And she's shopping, and then she's looking at some detergent. She's trying to figure out which detergent to take, so she takes her eyes off her kid. And for about 2-3 minutes, she's looking at the different detergents. And then when she picks up the one that she wants, she turns around, and when she places it in the push cart, she sees that her baby's not there. So she looks around and looks up and down. She's not there. So she runs to the end of one aisle and then runs back to the other end of the aisle. She doesn't see her baby. And she immediately goes and says, something's happening to my baby. So everybody starts looking for her baby, and no one finds her baby. And she starts freaking out and becoming hysterical almost. And then the police come, and the news people come, and one of the news guys goes up to her, ma'am, how do you feel right now that your child was perhaps kidnapped? She said, what are you talking about? I feel terrible, and I'm not going to feel good until my baby comes back. Now, why is she saying that? Because she loves her baby, you see. And even a moment's separation from the baby is untenable for her. She can't. She feels terrible. So, when we love Krishna, even a moment's absence of thought of Krishna, feelings of separation from the Lord, because one has love for the Lord. So even every moment of separation from the Lord is devastating for the devotee. So that's why when people say, "Oh, I feel great," I'm going to go on a vacation next week, and my 401k is good, and I'm going to get a promotion and a bonus, and so those people have no love at all for Krishna. They're so enamored by their material success that Krishna is not significant in their life at all, or God is not significant in their life at all. See? So, therefore, it says here that the fact that the devotees are always engaged in the devotional service to the Lord in transcendental love are rewarded many hundreds and thousands of times more than the demons by being elevated to the spiritual planets, where they remain with the Lord in eternal blissful existence. Now, Krishna, out of his largesse, which is a beautiful word, it's a French word, but it came into the English language and is pronounced in the French way, Largesse. You can look that up, see what it means. So, because of the largesse of the mercy of the Lord, he awards liberation to demons, but not going back to Vaikuntha or Goloka, but they get liberation in the impersonal Brahman. And he says, the demons and impersonalists are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahmajyoti effulgence of the Lord, whereas the devotees are admitted into the spiritual planets. Well, remember a couple verses before it explained that the warriors on the side of Duryodhana, when they first saw the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, some of them became very attracted by the beauty of the Lord. And when they were killed, they went to Vaikuntha because they had the awakening of appreciation for the Lord. Whereas these demons, who are completely inimical to the Lord and have no attraction at all, because they were killed by the Lord, they also got liberation, but not Vaikuntha like the others, but in the Brahmajyoti. So Krishna can bless someone with liberation in the Brahmajyoti. Now the Mayavadis, they work very hard for this lifetime, maybe other lifetimes, doing all kinds of austerities to attain Brahmajyoti. and a demon, all they have to do is be killed by the Lord. They attain it immediately. See, so why is that? Well, the Brahmajyoti effulgence is the basis or the support of the Vaikuntha planets. But the Mayavadis and the demons, they have no knowledge of the Vaikuntha planets. And therefore, they don't attain them. They stay in this limbo situation of the Brahmajyoti, and they never get any ashraya. They never get any, let's say, ashraya means protection, or more than protection, it means support by being on a Vaikuntha planet. So therefore, they will fall down. It's just like, let's say you're in a rocket, you're in one of Elon Musk's rocket going to Mars, and they make a mistake and you miss Mars. And now you're just floating in space. And the distance between the planets is so great, you could be floating in space forever. And that means you're going to die because you're not going to land on any planet. So that's what happens to the Mayavadis and the demons. When they attain Brahman realization, they're just floating, and eventually they fall down because they're not able to express themselves individually and relate to others. They're just floating in space. Just like if your airplane is just floating, it doesn't land and doesn't crash, it just floats. You would be in La La Land. You would be nowhere, right? So, therefore, it says the demons and impersonalists are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahmajyoti effulgence of the Lord, whereas the devotees are admitted into the spiritual planets. For comparison, one can just imagine the difference between floating in space and residing in one of the planets in the sky. The pleasure of the living entities on the planets is greater than that of those who have no body and who merge with the molecules of the sun's rays. The impersonalists, therefore, are no more favored than the enemies of the Lord. Rather, they are both on the same level of spiritual salvation. So, this Mayavad philosophy is not any great thing. It's better than Buddhism and atheism, but it's still far away from transcendental ecstasy that the devotees experience in Vaikuntha and especially in Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, so I want to make a very interesting point to show the vast difference between Mayavad philosophy and Krishna consciousness. Most people don't understand the difference. Even devotees, it's difficult sometimes for many devotees to explain the difference. Obviously, they know what the difference is. Mayavadis are impersonalists, devotees are personalists. Okay, but there's a lot more to it than that. And I want to go into it a little more deeply now. So this is explained in a very nice way in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 25th chapter, 56th verse. In that, and it says, by studying the 6 philosophical theories, this is called Saddarshans. There are 6 philosophical schools of Vedic scholarship, right? And Prabhupada is going to explain them, and then we're going to see very clearly what the difference is between Mayavad philosophy and Krishna consciousness, or Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. By studying the 6 philosophical theories, one cannot reach the absolute truth. Wow, that's a big point, because normally people think by studying those 6 philosophical theories, one will understand the absolute truth. One cannot reach the absolute truth. It is therefore our duty to follow the path of the Mahajanas. Mahajana Yenakata Sapanta. That's a verse from the Mahabharata and spoken by Brahma. Anyway, follow the path of the Mahajanas, the authorities. Whatever they say should be accepted as the supreme truth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura gives the following summary of the 6 philosophical processes. Prakasananda admitted that Sripad Sankaracharya, being very eager to establish his philosophy of monism, took shelter of the Vedanta philosophy and tried to explain it in his own way. The fact is, however, that if one accepts the existence of God, one certainly cannot establish the theory of monism, oneness. For this reason, Sankaracharya refuted all kinds of Vedic literature that establishes the supremacy of the personality of Godhead. So he chooses to make a commentary not on the Srimad Bhagavatam, because that's directly talking about Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not on the Bhagavad Gita, because that's Krishna himself talking about himself, right? So he has to pick some other Vedic literature that he can misinterpret purposely to establish his premise of Mayavad philosophy. So he chooses the Vedanta Sutra. Why? Because the Vedanta Sutra, if you study it without a bona fide spiritual master, it will lead you to Brahman realization, not to Paramatma realization or Bhagavan realization. It doesn't mention Krishna directly. It mentions God, right, but not Krishna directly. So it's very easy. So it was easier for Sankaracharya to misinterpret the Vedanta Sutra than to even try to misinterpret the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. He would never have succeeded, right? Okay, so then it says, the fact is, however, that if one accepts the existence of God, one certainly cannot establish the theory of monism. Yeah, if you accept the existence of a personal God, then you would not be able to establish monism. Merging into Brahman is the ultimate state of spiritual realization. For this reason, Sankaracharya refuted all kinds of Vedic literature that establishes the supremacy of the personality of Godhead. In various ways, Sankaracharya has tried to refute the Vedic literature. Yeah, when you explain the Vedic literature according to Mayavad philosophy, it ends up, one ends up becoming an atheist. That's why in India today, you have atheism is growing, even in the United States also, atheism is growing bigger than any one of the Christian denominations. Before it was very minor. Now it's 24% of the population are atheists. So in Christianity, Catholicism, it's only like 23% of the people. And Protestantism is, 18 or 19%. And then all other Christian sects might be like, less than that. So atheism now, if you count, you don't count Christianity as one, but you count it according to its different religious denominations. Atheism is superior now, or more, than all the different denominations of Christianity. Okay, so, and also in India, atheism is big now, really big. In fact, you even have RSS and people are following Modi and the RSS and other groups like that. Many of the original RSS people were atheistic followers of Hinduism. Have you ever heard that before? Yeah. If you look them up, you'll see they clearly. What was the name of that guy? It starts with an S. Sarkar, huh? Yeah. He clearly said he was an atheistic Hindu. He followed Hinduism culturally, but didn't believe in the theology of Hinduism. And there were other leaders like that. And even today, there are atheistic Hindus. They follow it only culturally. They don't follow it spiritually. And in Christianity, there's people like that too. They just follow the religion culturally, but they don't really believe that Jesus resurrected from the dead and then walked around 40 days talking to his disciples and then ascended to heaven in the same body that got crucified. And if you don't believe that, you cannot be a Christian. But yet, there are a lot of Christians that don't believe it. But still they call themselves Christians. Not a lot, but there's a minority of Christians like that. But like, for example, the so-called Christians that are members of the Unitarian Church are like that. Anyway, I won't go into that. So now Prabhupada says, throughout the world, 99% of the philosophers following in the footsteps of Sankaracharya refuse to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead, they try to establish their own opinions. It is typical of mundane philosophers to want to establish their own opinions and refute those of others. Therefore, now he's going to explain the 6 Sad Darshans. Sad means 6. The Maimasaka philosophers, following the principles of Jaimini, stress fruitive activity and say that if there is a God, he must be under the laws of fruitive activity or karma. In other words, if one performs his duties very nicely in the material world, God is obliged to give one the desired result. According to these philosophers, there is no need to become a devotee of God if one strictly follows the moral principles. One will be recognized by the Lord, who will give the desired reward. Such philosophers do not accept the Vedic principle of bhakti yoga. Instead, they give stress to following one's prescribed duty. Okay, so that is Maimasaka philosophers. Then next, atheistic Sankhya philosophers like Kapila. So there are 2 Kapilas, the original Kapila Deva who was an incarnation of Krishna and spoke the original Sankhya philosophy. And in later times, the false Kapila, he has the same name, but he's not the incarnation of Krishna. He gave a false explanation of Sankhya. So all the books you see in the libraries about Sankhya philosophy are following the false Kapila's interpretation. It's not the real Kapila Dev is in Srimad Bhagavatam, and he speaks Sankhya philosophy to his mother. But if you go, all the universities have this big, thick book, Sankhya Yoga. It's thick like that. It's all of the false Kapila's theories and opinions. Okay, so it says, atheistic Sankhya philosophers like Kapila analyze the material elements very scrutinizingly and thereby come to the conclusion that material nature is the cause of everything. They do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the cause of all causes. So, this is the theory of the modern scientists also, and modern philosophers. They only deal with matter. They don't deal with anything spiritual. You see, so there's no difference between the false Sankhya philosophy taught in the universities in India, in the Vedic universities in India, and the modern scientists. They both believe that matter is the only thing. They don't believe in anything spiritual. And then number 3, Nyaya philosophers like Gautama and Kanada have accepted the combination of atoms as the original cause of the creation. And number 4, Mayavadi philosophers say that everything is an illusion. The material world is an illusion, the spiritual world is an illusion, Vaikuntha is an illusion, Goloka is an illusion, your individuality is an illusion. Krishna is an illusion also. When he comes, he doesn't have a transcendental body, he has a material body, right? So it says, Mayavadi philosophers say that everything is an illusion. Headed by philosophers like Astavakra, they stress the impersonal Brahman effulgence as the cause of everything. Number 5, philosophers following the precepts of Patanjali practice Raja Yoga. They imagine a form of absolute truth within many forms. That is their process of self-realization. So they're supposed to understand Paramatma, but oftentimes they deviate from understanding Paramatma. Although Patanjali was talking about Paramatma, but at the final moment after a lifetime of following Patanjali's yoga, if they do realize Paramatma, they say, Tatvamasi, that's me. You see? And at the final moment, doing all those austerities that they do, if you read Patanjali's book, but at that final moment when they have realization of Paramatma, they say, Tatvamasi, that's me. Right? So that means all their studies, all their austerities is zero. All 5 of these philosophies, Maimasaka and atheistic Sankhya and Nyaya and Mayavad and Patanjali, all these philosophies completely reject the predominance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and strive to establish their own philosophical theories. However, Srila Vyasadeva wrote the Vedanta Sutra and, taking the essence of all Vedic literature, established the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All 5 kinds of philosophers mentioned above understand that impersonal Brahman is without material qualities, and they believe that when the Personality of Godhead appears, he is contaminated and covered by the material qualities. In other words, he has a material body like we do. The technical term used is saguna. They speak of saguna Brahman and nirguna Brahman. For them, nirguna Brahman means the impersonal absolute truth without any material qualities, and saguna Brahman means the absolute truth that accepts the contamination of material qualities. More or less, this kind of philosophical speculation is called Mayavad philosophy. The fact is, however, that the Absolute Truth never has anything to do with material qualities because he is transcendental. He is always complete with full spiritual qualities. The 5 philosophers mentioned above do not accept Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are very busy refuting the philosophies of other schools. There are 6 kinds of philosophical processes in India. Because Vyasadeva is the Vedic authority, he is known as Vedavyasa. His philosophical explanation of Vedanta Sutra is accepted by the devotees, and so forth. So, here we see a stark difference between Mayavad and Krishna consciousness, especially in the understanding of Saguna and Nirguna Brahman. The Mayavadis thing, Saguna Brahman means with material qualities. And when they say Nirguna Brahman, it means no material, no qualities at all. It's just merging into the light of Brahman. Now, the Vaishnavas use the same words, Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. But Saguna Brahman is the deity, just like we have Radha and Krishna deity. But even though they're made with material elements, when the Pran Pratishtha ceremony is performed correctly, they are non-different than Krishna and Radha and Krishna. And in that way we worship them as like that. If you have an idol, and most Hindus refer to deities as idols, and that's a big, big mistake. I have to correct people all the time, even so-called pundits, when they talk about idols. They're not idols, they're murtis. A murti is not an idol. It is actually the presence of Krishna, or Radha and Krishna, or Nrsingadev, or Lord Rama, or Gaur-Nitai. And therefore they're worshipped like that. If there's an idol, you worship, you don't worship, it doesn't matter. But the deities have to be worshipped minimum 6 times a day, offering arti, offering food for them, dressing them, undressing them, dressing them again with night clothes, and then bathing them. But we should not bathe them with water, we bathe them with mantra. And with the Utsav deities, whenever there's a major festival, they're bathed with different 5 types of nectars, but the main deities should not be bathed with water. They should be, of course, Balaji is bathed at least once a week with water, but the Vaishnavas bathe them with mantras. Okay, so therefore, Saguna for Vaishnavas are murtis, and they are made with wood or granite or marble or painting, and they're worshipped. When they're properly worshipped and the Pran Pratishtha takes place, they are considered non-different than Krishna himself. And so that's different than the Mayavadis' understanding of Saguna Brahman. For them, Saguna Brahman means with material qualities. So when Krishna appears in this world, he has a material body, like we do. And that's wrong. Okay, and then Nirguna for them is having no qualities at all. But Nirguna means Krishna's transcendental body is Satchitananda. It's not made with bones and blood and ligaments and stool and urine and wax and tears and things like that. It's made with, his body is Satchitananda, eternity, bliss, and knowledge. So there's a major difference between the Mayavadi understanding of these words and the Vaishnava understanding of these words. Okay, and then there's more examples. Like, for example, in the Prabhupada explains this in more depth in the book The Laws of Nature, where he says, first of all, let me see where that is, yeah. The Lord and his energy, one and different. So, Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. The Ishopanishad says, one who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can cause him illusion or anxiety? This realization is Krishna consciousness. In other words, it says, what is a person? A person is not the body, the material body. A person is the soul within the body, you see. And that's why he says, one who, and Ishopanishad says, one who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord. In other words, Lord is Satchitananda. We're also Satchitananda, right? We also have eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Our eternity is co-equal with Krishna, but our knowledge and bliss is far inferior to that of Krishna's. But we can participate in Krishna's knowledge and bliss, but we'll never be able to emulate it or be equal to it. But we can participate in it. Okay, so it says, what then can cause him illusion or anxiety? If you understand this, then you'll never be in illusion and never have any anxiety. Why? This realization is Krishna consciousness. There are different kinds of realization, but the devotee of Krishna realizes the truth that we are qualitatively one with the Lord, but quantitatively different from him. So qualitatively, we are eternal and part and parcel of the Lord. That is, even now that we seem to be separated from the Lord, we still are dependent on the Lord. We might reject accepting our dependence on the Lord, but the fact is that we are completely dependent on the Lord. So we are simultaneously one and different. Now this is going to be explained in depth. The impersonalists think that we are 100% one with the Lord, or the Supreme Absolute Truth, but that is not a fact. If we were 100% one with the Supreme Lord, then how have we come under the control of Maya, or illusion? The impersonalists cannot answer this question. So this is the one question they have no answer for. If they do become God, and they always talk about becoming God, then how come they're in illusion now? And they're eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So that's the proof that they're not God. The real nature of our identity with the Supreme is described in the Vedic literature with the analogy of the sparks and the fire. Okay, now listen carefully. The sparks of a fire have the same quality as the fire, yet they are different in quantity, right? They don't equal the fire in as far as emitting heat and light. They have the same quality of heat and light, but not the same quantity of it. But when the small spark leaves the fire and falls down in water, its fiery quality is lost. So that is compared to going to the mundane schools and being trained to be an atheist, where you completely lose any feeling of love or appreciation for God. See, that's like the spark falling into water. But when the small spark leaves the fire and falls down in water, its fiery quality is lost. Similarly, when the infinitesimal soul leaves the association of the Lord and contacts the mode of ignorance, his spiritual quality becomes almost extinct. It cannot become extinct completely because he has an eternal soul, but his understanding is almost completely lost of his real nature. When a spark falls on the land instead of in the water, then the spark retains some heat. So if it falls on bare land, it may retain some of its heat and light, but not much, and eventually it'll go out. Similarly, when the living entity is in the quality of passion, in other words, falling on the bare ground is compared to someone in the mode of passion. In the mode of passion, where one is very active, there is some hope that he can revive his Krishna consciousness. So when one is in ignorance, after going through 16 years of school, there's no possibility of becoming Krishna conscious. If one is in a mode of passion, there's a little possibility because they're active. Right? And if the spark drops on dry grass, it can ignite another fire and regain all its fiery qualities. So that's acting in the mode of goodness. One has a much better chance than being in the mode of passion, and no chance in the mode of ignorance. But in the mode of goodness, one has a much better chance, especially if they meet devotees and eventually get initiated, of being co-equal, realizing their co-equalness with Krishna as far as eternity is concerned, and their ability to participate in Krishna's unending knowledge and unending bliss. Similarly, a person who is in the mode of goodness can take full advantage of spiritual association and easily revive his Krishna consciousness. Therefore, one has to come to the platform of goodness in this material world. And that's the theme of our Ananda Mela this year, coming to the mode of goodness. Again, the analogy of the fire can help us understand the simultaneous oneness and difference of the Lord and his diverse energies. Fire has two main energies, heat and light. Whenever there is fire, there is heat and light. Now, the heat is not different from the fire, nor is the light, but still, heat and light are not fire. Similarly, the whole universe can be understood in this way. The universe is simply made up of Krishna's energies, and therefore, nothing is different from Krishna, but still, Krishna is separate from everything in the material universe. So that is the principle of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. But what do the Mayavadis say? They say the whole material universe is false. It doesn't really exist. It's an illusion. We don't say that. If someone says, it's all an illusion, and you get a chair and hit him over the head, he'll say, oh, but that's not an illusion. My head's really hurting right now. Right? So, no, matter is temporary, but it's real. But the Mayavadis will say it's false, it's an illusion. And because it's an illusion, they'll say, well, you can play with it because it's an illusion. It doesn't matter. But it does matter. Everything matters. So whatever we see within the material or spiritual worlds is but an expansion of Krishna's multifarious energies. This material world is an expansion of Krishna's external energy, Bahiranga Shakti. The spiritual world is an expansion of his internal energy, Antaranga Shakti. And we living entities are an expansion of his marginal energy, Tatastha Shakti. We are Shakti, energy. We are not the energetic. Okay, so this is an explanation of Vaishnava concept of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, simultaneously one and inconceivably different. And the Mayavadis have a different take on it completely. The Mayavadis, as we've said before, are the original cancel culture people. They cancel the material world. They cancel your individuality or individuality. They cancel Vaikuntha. They cancel Goloka. And they say there's only Brahman. That's called Kevala Advaita. Absolute oneness. That's the truth, they say, in which there's no qualities. There's nirguna, no qualities at all. And there's only this light that one merges into. And they want you to meditate on the light. So if you squeeze your eyes really hard here in the third eye area, you will see light with your eyes closed, right? So they claim that is the beginning of Brahman realization. Okay, so what time is it? Yeah. All right, so we explained the difference between Mayavad philosophy and Krishna consciousness. There's more to this. I'll explain some more tomorrow. If we understand that everything is made up of two energies in the material world, everything in the material world is made up of two major energies, matter and spirit. If you understand, and both of those energies belong to Krishna. Therefore, anything you see is made of these two things, and therefore, Krishna is in everything, and everything is made from Krishna's energies. Therefore, at that point, you become fearless, you become completely dedicated to Krishna, and you engage only in Krishna consciousness. And you have nothing to fear because Krishna is your protector and your well-wisher. So that, but to come to that point is not easy because we've been trained to think that there's only matter, and modern science says, well, you know, if you believe in God, and the psychologists say it too, or the anthropologists, they say, well, if you believe in God, it's okay, you know, it's sentimental, but if it's a crutch for weak-minded people, but if it makes you feel good, it's okay. You can believe in God. But we know that there's no God, there's just science. And we proved that because we have rockets, and we have atomic bombs, and we have nuclear bombs, and we have concussion bombs, and this bomb, and that bomb. And, you know, we were able to make all these bombs to kill people faster. That's the proof that we are real scientists. It's nonsense. You know, and we create all kinds of different diseases in Wuhan, but the United States funds it to create different types of diseases, and then they spread all over the world, and they work really good. You know, these are our achievements. We can kill people faster with armaments. Just like, you know, what is Biden doing now? He's sending more and more armaments and more lethal armaments to Ukraine. And what is Putin doing? He's using more and more lethal armaments to kill the Ukrainians. Does that make sense? This is what modern society has become today, because the pundits today are the politicians and the scientists, who are all low-class people. They're all low-class people. And therefore, they're misleading everyone and causing so much unnecessary suffering in this world. Right? So we'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna. We'll go through Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Are there any questions? Yes.
Maharaj, no one still told the meaning of largesse.
Largesse means that you are very, very merciful, friendly. You're a giver. You know, largesse means that you're very generous with mercy or money or something. Okay, and that is a French word, but it's come into the English language.
Online meaning, Maharaj, generosity in bestowing money.
Yes.
Or gifts upon others.
Yes, and mercy. In the case of Krishna, it's mercy. He has big largesse. Large means large, right? Largesse means very, very large. Yeah. Haribol. It's a good word to know. It's a nice word. Haribol. Okay, who's going to sing? Sing. You want to sing again? Okay, good. I got it. Take 4 of them out, yeah. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Mando Mui Sabadana Mate Janara Prasade Bhai E Bhavatoriya Jaye Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoy Ide Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Goriya Arana Koya Maneya Sa Shri Guru Charane Rati Keval Bhakati Ye prasade pure sarva sa Chudana dila je janme Prabhu se Chudana dila je janme Prabhu se Ye gyan de prakasido Guru Karuna Sindhu Adana Janara Bandhu Ganato Kera Jivana Aha Prabhu Kora Doya Deha More Padachaya Krishna Shakti Bhuvana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutaya Vani Pracharine Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavani Pasyatya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavani Pasyatya Desatarine Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Pararajagachasta Tarasata Shri 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 Mahad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Sil Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samkunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Jamuna Maya ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the symbol. All glories to the symbol devotees. All glories to the symbol. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Buddhaya Krishna Vastaya Vinti Samad Bhutta Samatana Sastaya Vinchana The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain the pure devotional service. I bow down to this lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By His grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from His lotus mat. Attachment to His lotus feet is perfection, fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From Him, ecstatic prema emanates. By Him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of His character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and Lord and master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the Savior lotus feet. Your fame is spread throughout all the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavani Ki Jai. Namo Prayers.